Welcome back. Well, we all know back to school is a very exciting time, but what about for new college students?
For meeting new people, to finding your way across campus, and of course, breaking the bank, food, rent, tuition, beer money, air fryers. All the kids want one of those. The list goes on. So what's the best way to spend smart? For some helpful tips, we're joined by Bradley Shamow, a financial planner for Northwestern Mutual. Thanks a lot for coming in today.
Thanks for having me, Chris and Sandra.
So when it comes to the college students and they look at their budget, what are the top things they should be watching out for?
Well, the first thing that they want to realize is, compared to when you were in high school, you're going to be spending way more money than when you're in college, right? You're talking about tons of social gatherings, activities, lots of out to eat, right? So it's important to sit down and create a budget for yourself before that, right? Now, if you worked a summer job, that's awesome. You're going to have a lot of extra money in your pocket. But it's important you don't want to spend it all right away.
Not the first day. That's
not
right.
the first day. Not the first day. So take some time, strategize what you're going to do, what's coming in, what's going out, right? And then when you look at it and say, hey, you know what? I may have some student loan debt that I'm going to have to tackle later on. That's one of the biggest things that is hurting Americans right now that they're struggling with is student loan debt. So by just creating a plan, something simple, you can get a head start on paying off that debt.
You know, it's incredible to me when you talk to parents with freshmen, you know, they're getting them set up in their dorms and whatnot. This is very different from when we went to college, I think. What is essential and what isn't essential? I mean, you look at some of these dorms and these setups. We mentioned air fryers. I mean, things have gotten pretty elaborate.
Yeah, things have gotten very elaborate. And, you know, a lot of that stuff can be spent on credit cards, unfortunately, right? It's easy to say, hey, I need this and I need that. And you're spending it and you're swiping it or you're tapping it or scanning it, whatever it is, right? And it's easy to get caught in that trap and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to spend here and it's buy now and pay later, right? Unfortunately, we know that's not the case, right? So you really got to be conscious with your purchases. Get what you need. Don't worry about if there's something that you want. Try to time it. Maybe wait till it goes on sale. But credit card debt is another thing that college students, they're going off to school, they're getting their first credit card, and they don't know. It's easy to think, oh, this is so easy, let me go in and swipe. But interest rates are so high on these credit cards, it's easy to say, hey, you know what, let me just pay off the minimum. This is an easy payment. But unfortunately, with that interest rate being so high, it's easy to mount up that debt, right? On the flip side, if you spend and you pay it on time and you pay it in full, they're going to have the ability to get rewarded with a great credit score. And that's something that's not talked about a lot, but when it comes time to purchase a car, they're going to get a great rate on an auto loan, and even when it comes time to get their mortgage, it's going to pay major dividends for them.
Yeah, credit cards aren't always a negative. I mean, I remember when I went to school, there's credit card companies with booths all over the place wanting you to sign up.
That's the first table you see when you walk in, right? And they just hand them over pretty much.
Had a whole wallet full. Now, you mentioned working in the summer and how you're off to a good start if you have some money saved up. What about working during the school year? What are your views on that?
If your class load isn't too heavy, right, obviously we want to prioritize school as number one. But, you know, you have some students taking 16, 18 credits. It's tough to work a job, but some kids have no choice, right? So, you know, if you can do it, try to fit it into your schedule sometime between, you know, if you can do 15 hours a week. Some kids have to work full time, paying their own way. So every case is different. And again, that falls back on the credit card conversation. There's student loan debt, there's student aid, there's financial aid. But if you can work a job while you're in school, that is another thing that's going to go a long way towards, again, paying dividends towards your student loan debt.
Yeah, you mentioned that credit card conversation. What is some advice for parents about the things that they should go over when you're sending your little one off to college? Well, at that point, they're not little anymore. But
you know, it's going to sound so simple, but budgeting. But just simple budgeting. You know, here's how much is coming in. Here's how much is going out, right? If we're spending more than what's coming in, this is a problem, right? This is a problem at any age, at any level in life, right? Is people spending more than what they make or what they're able to do. So that is the number one thing I talk to my young ones about, right? I have an 8-year-old who's just learning about money, and she's always like, well, I can just, you know, I can spend, I can buy this, Dad, and I can buy that, Dad, and I can buy that. I said, well, what happens when you run out of money? What else are you going to do? And she said, well, I'll have to go make more money. I said, well, you better make sure that the money coming in is enough to support what you're spending, right? So at any age, at any level, I think just the simple conversation of how to create a budget and understanding your inflows and your outflows at the college level is going to again, it's going to help you out so much more for when they get out and get that first job.
Let's talk about financial knowledge for a minute. I mean, I know when I went through high school, granted it was a long time ago, I mean, there was no financial courses. Like they didn't teach us anything about managing money. Are we doing that in the school system now? Do kids have a good basis of that, or is it pretty much heaped upon the parents to teach their kids about finances?
I wouldn't depend on the school system to teach your kids about anything, as far as finances related, as far as, balancing a checkbook, right? How to open a bank account, how to manage, how to earn interest on your money. Especially if you can teach them young. There's a lot of banks out there that are that say, hey, start your child off on their first debit card, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you get those letters in the mail, or their own savings account. But I would take it upon yourselves to teach your children about money, teach your children about, what can happen if you overspend, what can happen if you're not responsible with your money. I think the school system does a great job in some other aspects, but as far as real life, what are some real dangers? They don't teach you about credit card debt. They don't teach you about these things and what you can get into. So definitely, parents, take it upon yourselves, teach your kids at a young age how to write a check, how to balance a checkbook, how to do those things. Those are simple, basic things I think we all need.
Yeah, you're showing your age here. You're saying one word that is throwing the kids off: checkbook.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
No,
they have
we know
no
what it is.
idea what
Those
that
kids
is.
don't know what that old checkbook is.
Yeah.
We do, though.
Yeah, of course. Hey, Bradley, thanks a lot for coming in this morning. Thanks for sharing those tips, and hopefully the kids learn something from that.
Great advice. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.